Go ahead.
Okay, number 17 has to do with interim interest. Now clearly, interim interest you are going to see on the test. If not as a standalone question, then you will certainly see it on the mini closing statements, okay? So make sure that you have this correct. And there's a couple little secrets here. First of all, it gives us also a chance to talk about the interest formula again. Remember, the way we use it in class, typically I just T-bar. Annual interest equals principal times rate. So here's what's going on in problem number 17. The buyer is seeking a loan for $186,000 at, it looks like 5.5% for 30 years. He's closing on February 17th. What would be the correct entry for interim interest on the settlement statement? So what's going on here? Remember, interim interest, of course, if we're closing on, what date? February what?
17.
February 17th, and technically it doesn't matter which month, because in this class all months have 30 days. If we're closing on the 17th, remember, our first payment is not going to be due March 1st. Our first payment will be due April 1st. And March's interest will be paid in the April 1st payment because interest is paid in arrears, okay? Which means that interim interest is this interest right here at the end of the closing month. The interim interest is the interest at the end of the closing month. Listen closely, including the day of closing, okay? So let's go to our formula. Do we know what the buyer's initial principal is?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, it's 186?
Yes.
Do we know what his initial rate is?
5.5.
5.5%. Now somebody punch this into their calculator for me, please. 186,000 times 5.5%. Give me that number.
10230.
10230?
Yeah.
Oops, excuse me. 230. But that represents your annual interest. It's good to know that number. Having said that, that's not the number we're looking for. What we need to know when we're solving for interim interest is how much you paid on a daily basis, okay? So if you just, this is simple interest. So if you just take that number, and remember, in this problem, unless we tell you otherwise, there are 360 days in a year unless we tell you otherwise. So let's take and divide this by 360. What's that number, please?
28.42.
$28.42.
Divided by 360. You divided it by 12.
28.42.
$2.
28.42.
$28.42.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking, I'm sorry. I won't tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking the number sounded high. But you know what I did? I made the same mistake that a lot of people make on the exam. I was thinking taxes, because taxes are usually a small number, but you're exactly right. Interest ends up being, I'm sorry, around 28, 30, 40 bucks a day. So 28.42 per day. Okay, now here comes the tricky part. Once you have that the interest is $28 per day, again, this is the hard way to do this, but hopefully it'll help you remember. Every month has 30 days, correct? Okay, in a banker's year. Minus the day of closing, which was what, 17?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then add 1. I know you know what 30 minus 17 is. Obviously that's 13. But don't forget to add 1 for the day of closing. So how many days of interim interest are we going to collect? 14 days. So 28.42 per day times 14 days.
397.
Say again, please.
397.88.
Okay. $397.80. And who always pays interim interest?
The buyer.
It's always the buyer. Why? Because it's the buyer's new loan. It's the buyer's loan. The seller has nothing to do with this. So hopefully that answer is on there. 397.80 something. Looks like B. Debit buyer. Okay? Done.